Hi, and welcome to week 2 of typography. This week we're going to dive into the anatomy of type, take a look at some vocab, and you're going to have your first assignment. So, you're already watching this video, which means you've navigated through the modules to here. In the anatomy of type, I have 5 websites here. Now, this may seem a little bit intimidating because there are a lot of vocab words that go along with typography. This week, however, we are looking at the anatomy of type. So what makes up each letter form? Now, I posted this last week, but I think it's a really good reference. So these all have to do with anatomy, right? And you can just click on it and it's going to tell you what it is, and we can move from there. Now, here's a beautifully illustrated glossary of some terms that you should know. So, I want you to take a look. Again, these ones all have to do with anatomy. So this is great. So just start with this chart. As we go down further, these are more definitions, but we're going to get to these as we move along in the term. You know, serif, sans serif, kerning, leading, all of that. Don't worry about it right now. We will get there. Just take a look at this first chart. Okay? It's really kind of cool to look at how each font does things a little bit differently. So like you may come to find that you're looking at an arm and you see that it's a horizontal stroke not connected to a stem on at least one end. So you may be like, ooh, what's stem? Well, over here, it's the main vertical stroke. So let's even simplify it. We'll just look at the stem. It's really cool, and if you open up, Illustrator, which you all should have access to now. I'm just going to do a new one. What you can do is, in a design, we always say to type out whatever it is you want to see, copy and paste it, and try out a ton of different font choices to see what it looks like. A lot of times we don't know exactly what it looks like. So, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog is a phrase that's used to show every letter in the alphabet, or you can type out the letters of the alphabet, whatever you would like. So Illustrator now also does lorem ipsum. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. G's a good one, so let's look at this. So what I can do, I'm going to delete this real quick. Here we are. If you are kind of unfamiliar in Illustrator or whatever, you can always go to Window, Type, and then we have Character and Paragraph, but we can bring up this window. You can also use your top bar up here, but just to kind of show you what we're dealing with. They try to show you what it's going to look like over here, and this is a great thing that Illustrator has kind of added, so we can actually see what we're looking at before we actually go to our project. But I would recommend typing something out and just taking a look. So Baskerville is a really great serifed font, which again has to do with tails, but we'll get there. I'll just copy, and then we can make this, how about like Helvetica? Helvetica, we can copy this, and let's make this Garamond. And we can copy this, and we'll make it, let's do something kind of just off. Let's just do times. So I'm thinking of, more commonly used fonts. Now, just with these 4 different examples that I have, take a look at, a specific letter. Maybe let's look at the lowercase g. Okay? And think about the anatomy and what we're seeing. and look at how everything is done differently in each one. Now you can see these three have a lot in common, but look, this one is open down here. The serif has a little, ball shape here. This goes straight across. This goes kind of has an angle to it. It is an art form in itself. Every letter was specifically made to look a certain way. So again, get used to looking at them. Look at, the C. Again, Helvetica is known for everything being straight and even. So the C here is on a straight line. This one, we've got a curve and an angle. So take note of these things and then think about, okay, what vocabulary am I seeing? Oh, a swash. We saw that. Did we look at the stem like we originally intended to? These are a lot of definitions, but it's important that you start looking at what they mean and in different cases. Some you may find like, well, this doesn't have X, Y, or Z, and that's okay. Not every letter in every font is going to have every vocabulary word. Here's an A to Z of vocabulary typography terms. Now, this is getting a little bit past our anatomy. So take a look and make sure you're looking at the ones that have to deal with anatomy, but I think this is a great resource and all of these definitions are pretty important. So, nothing is going to go to waste here. We've got a little crash course, knowing your vocabulary. This one, there's a section on anatomy, so you can look at that. And again, I'm just trying to get you excited about typography. I know definitions might not be the most exciting, but once we start to learn these definitions, we can use them as we go throughout the course. And then here are some more going a bit further, but like they included the bowl, so I thought it was fun to see. Alright, so then after you've kind of read about the anatomy, you've looked at different fonts on your computer and different letters. G is probably one that you can really see some differences in, Q as well. This is a Typography Basics from the Adobe Print Publishing, Anatomy of Letter Forms. Again, you're seeing the same words over and over. I'm just trying to show you them in different ways. Now, to take kind of a break from anatomy, look around your house, work somewhere that you go fairly often. It could be a grocery store, your street, whatever it is. Take a look at how typography is used. It is literally all around us. I mean, I'm sitting at my desk here. I have typography on my mug, on my computer, on my mouse, on my lamp, on my decorative sign, on even my Post-it notes. Think about if these are to inspire, like on my Post-it note, it says, "You got this." Is it informative? My lamp says the brand, says that it's a desk lamp, and has the on button. Typography can help us to make decisions, be inspired, or simply tell us what we're looking at. Find an example that you think works well and one that could be improved. Post photos of your findings and explain why they are working well or what could be improved. So you can, if you have a phone that can take photos, take a picture with your phone. If you want to use a camera, you can. I'm looking for the photo to be able to show us what you're looking at. I don't need you to edit the photo or do anything like that. Just make sure that we can see what you're talking about in terms of the typography. Now, you may find for working well or needs improvement, the color, the spacing, the actual font choice, the placement. There are a lot of things that we're going to be looking at, so just pay attention as you go around, and if you think something is working well, take a picture, and if you kind of find something like, oh, I think if they did it this way, that would be better. Okay, so 2 examples, talk about it, and then respond to a minimum of 2 of your classmates by Sunday. So your original posts due Wednesday, and then respond to your classmates on Sunday. You can talk about what you think is working well and what could be improved, further discuss their points, or give your own opinion. Again, we're trying to make an open environment where everyone can kind of talk about what they want. Then, back to anatomy. I want you to create an anatomy poster. Using a minimum of 5 definitions, create a poster that easily displays some anatomy of type. Think about what makes you able to remember certain parts of anatomy or how you could help others to grow their vocabulary. So far in this module, everything has been written, right? Word, definition, and there's some illustrations to go along with it. I want you to create an illustration of how you think it could be. This is a very, very wide open assignment. I've had people do a variety of things in the past. I'm not going to tell you what it is to leave it open for you. But you do want to put the definition and the word on your poster somehow. And you want to create some sort of illustration, design, something that's going to help us remember those words and how they fit. I'm looking for an Adobe PDF, so in Illustrator, just in case we need a refresher, File, New, and then I said that I want an 8.5 by 11 CMYK document. So you can click Print, so we have 8.5 by 11 inches. You can do portrait or landscape, that's fine with me, and then just make sure it says CMYK color down here. Due Sunday by 11:59 p.m. So this is your first assignment, your chance to have fun using type, because we are going to put the name of the definition on there. I'm not going to be grading you on which type you use. We have not gotten there yet, or how you use it. But I want this to be a memorable idea. How can we get these vocab words, break them into smaller chunks, and remember them? Then, once you submit that Sunday night, I want you to also submit it in this discussion board, and we'll take a look at this discussion board next week as well. But by submitting your project here, you can also type little tips as to how you remember some of the words. I'm hoping that we can build a visual dictionary, kind of. If you're struggling to remember something, we can go back to this discussion board and look at the different posters to see all of the things that everyone has created. All right, and that's the end of week 2. I know this is a lot of heavy reading based and memory. If you want to make some flashcards, you can. You do not have to. I'm trying to get you used to some of these words. If you're like, Jen, there's so many words and I don't know what to do, break them into smaller sections. Again, your project is to focus on 5. So if you can kind of learn 5, maybe print out one of the references that you found worked best for you and keep it next to you. And as you're looking at things, try to put things together. I don't expect that in 1 week you're going to have all of these remembered or memorized, but we're just getting exposure to it so that, again, we can talk about these things further, use them to our benefit, and when we go to design, we have a more educated reasoning as to why we can choose things. Okay? So don't hesitate with any questions. I look forward to getting started in the discussion board, seeing your examples, and then seeing your projects. Have a wonderful week 2.